we're going to talk today about the Barricade. The Barricade is, I believe, actually the first electronic flywheel blaster, in which that it uses batteries to power, you may have heard it just then, to power a set of flywheels inside of the this cage right up here, and like a Hot Wheel car, it goes straight through it and launches across your living room. So it's a pretty interesting system that, again, I'm pretty sure the Barricade started, and or at least for Nerf, the Barricade was the start of, and it made it into a very interesting blaster as a result. I believe it was among the first secondaries that could be semi-automatic, and that's exactly what it was. So it is, as you can tell, it is a turret blaster. It's a revolving turret blaster. The way it works is the trigger fires and rotates the drum. So it has a switch on the left side of the blaster that when you turn it on, the batteries are a little old in it, so it may take a little while to wind up. There's not a lot of stealth with this blaster, because that's the way. This is prior to rev triggers that would be on grips of most of. Sorry. This is before rev triggers existed, so you had to turn on the gun to use it, which is a pretty big con. There is no stealth, but that being said, on this blaster, it's always ready when you are, I guess. If you wanted to, you could pull back the unjamming door and keep it on. So instead of having to reach up with your thumb and flicking the switch, that may be a little bit of an awkward transition. You could... Now, I get that uses two hands as opposed to one, but I never quite got the downs. Let's go ahead and take it to the range. I'll show you how this thing works. It's pretty simple stuff. It's basically a revolver. There we go. It's pretty easy to reload. Now, that being said, you can load it while it's off, but it's a little easier to do it while it's on. I'll show you why in just a moment. If I can quit dropping stuff. So this is how you load it. Just like a Maverick, just like any other turret blaster. That being said, this cage kind of blocks the rest of it going on. So if you turn the blaster on and pull the unjamming door, it allows you to rotate the turret to where you haven't loaded it yet, and load it that way. That being said, if you're in the middle of combat or something like that, you could top off, which was something that I highly valued out of this blaster. And this did serve as my HVZ, I guess, primary for a little while. I mean, I would use a recon as well just so that I can have magazines, but for the most part I did wind up finding myself using a revolver-style blaster, and when I saw this, I was like, hey, semi-auto, neat. So, there you go. It's got a big lanyard clip down here, so you could, sling it like such. It does have an in-strike compatible rear attachment point, which for the longest time I had a hard time getting stocks onto, but it seems to be working now. This is a regulator stock, so the mag storage is kind of redundant with this. But that is it's a good point feel. It doesn't have any rails here on the bottom. It is not an in-strike barrel attachment compatible. I kind of wish it was. That's my biggest gripe with it, is that I think it'd be really neat to have, like, that going on. But alas, it's not like that. You do have a top rail, so you could do that too. That being said, these attachments did not exist when this was on the shelves, but oh well. But they're very interesting blasters. This one was, like, I had purchased one when they came out on shelves. This one happened to be a gift from my mother-in-law. Thank you. And I'm excited because that means now, since I have two of them, I can use one to modify other things, because then I still have one for my collections. But now that I've put all these neat attachments on it, I'm going to take it back to the range and we'll show how much different it performs. be honest, if Elite darts weren't terrible, which I say terrible, streamlines are obviously terrible, but Elite darts are still not that great. This sight's actually pretty close in terms of like at short engagements, it will hit what you're aiming at, which I'm a huge proponent of. We put these sights on here, but I don't know about y'all, but I never use them. They just look cool. But this one actually is somewhat usable. Naturally, since we're not using the magazine storage in the stock, there's only one other stock we can put on it. And this is actually the stock I had issues with, and this is why I thought it like I had a lemon or something. And it has something to do with my Raider style stock, that the lock doesn't quite actuate unless you push it really hard in, and then lift up on it, and there, now we're good. So, you know, this is a pretty viable, almost primary class blaster once you kind of get it up here, because once you get a bunch of crap on it, you're probably not going to be slinging it in a holster or putting it aside or anything like that. But it did make for a, you know, in the middle of a firefight, you could just tilt and top off like such, or load it with different types of ammunition if that was something that you really needed to. It came with whistle darts, it can use Velcro darts, it can use streamline, surprisingly, and it uses modern ammunition as well. So it's still a pretty darn good contender. They did update it with Elite Performances, and they called it the Stockade, and basically it's the same but blue. And, you know, it served as a pretty decent, but I haven't tested it myself, I don't own one. But I imagine that with the Elite Performances, it did eke out a little bit more distance out of the barrel. But other than that, it's a pretty loud blaster, but since it's the first of the Flywheel blasters in the Nerf line, I think we can forgive a few of its flaws. But that is the Nerf Barricade, the Nerf In-Strike official Barricade, and yeah, it's a pretty good blaster. I mean, it's in the thrifting category now, and that is old enough where folks will be dropping them off, and I think get them. They're pretty fun as long as, you know, all the rotary mechs work and stuff like that. Other than that, it's kind of a turd, because now you get a big clunky blaster that doesn't work. Easy as that. But that's what I have to say about the Barricade. Good. I mean, dated. It's dated now because there are better Flywheel blasters out there now, but duh, that's innovation. So, if you like what I'm doing here, please like and subscribe. If you don't like what I'm doing here, thank you for watching. I'll see you, maybe, eventually, later. Okay, but that's fine. But, yeah, if you want to catch up with me on Snapchat, Instagram, or Twitter, I'll put my handles down below. Since I started the channel, I'm not too active on them, but hey, anyway, you can still follow me. It won't hurt my feelings, and I'll probably follow you back. Easy as that. So, my brother and I started a podcast. We have 2 episodes. We are available on iTunes, Google Play, and at a link that I'll put in the description to our RSS feed, or our host site, essentially. And we don't talk about Nerf. That's not stopping us. We just kind of chat about... This next episode is about Pop-Tarts, so that kind of shows where we're at. We've also talked about the prison industrial system, so we kind of got a wide scope of things. But yeah, so that'll be available as well. And other than that, that's all I got. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. See ya.